On today's episode, we're going to interview screenwriter April Smallwood. I haven't seen many screenwriters on the YouTubes. Of course, I mean, there are the ones out there, and they love to also talk stories and structure and how there is crossover with genre fiction. I wanted to bring her on here to talk about writing, the difference in mediums, and working with studios. Hello again, Lieblings. I'm Madi, science fiction and fantasy author who's been living in southern Germany since 2014. Today, we're going to interview one of my closest friends and fellow writers, April Smallwood. We met in college. We've been friends actually for a very long time, and of course, it just felt natural to have her on the show because she is a fellow writer, but she writes in a medium that's very different than what I do. I write genre fiction novels. She started out as a playwright in New York and now is a screenwriter in LA. Pretty awesome. But before we get started, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell if you haven't already. Here on Adventures of Lamati, we talk about writing, living abroad, and everything in between. So let's get this interview started.
Anyway, April, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Well, I mean, mostly I've up until now recently been interviewing a lot of book authors, but of course, screenwriting and is also writing as well. It's a very different skill set, I feel like, than writing novel, and I want to dive into that with you because who else would know?
Yeah, it is different. In the beginning, I always fancied that I'd be a novelist. That's just kind of what I wanted to do. And then when I took a playwriting class at Indiana University during undergrad, I took a playwriting class, and I was like, wow, this is so much more my speed, because I would get bored writing novels because there was so much description. And I wanted to just get to the character interactions. And so it finally dawned on me. I was like, maybe one day I'll do do the novel thing. But I was like, this is my speed. I want to do playwriting. And then from playwriting, I then took a screenwriting class, and then it just kind of just propelled itself from there, where, it's still, you're still telling a story. It's just a different focus. I feel like a novelist paints a picture and tells a story, while as a playwright and a screenwriter, they tell a story and they give you the kind of like the paint by number sketch, and it's the director and the actors who get out there and paint it, and fill in those spaces.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good metaphor. That's awesome. Well, for my first question, you've been diving beautifully into playwriting, and I will get to that in a moment, but I want to talk about you. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I was born in Kentucky, and pretty much raised in Indiana, though. Went to Indiana University for my undergrad, and I double majored in theater and English because at the time I went in there because I wanted to write, but I also wanted to act. And then the more and more I took classes, the more and more I was like, acting's a hobby. Writing is my passion. And so I just kind of went and dived more into the writing. And then I took a year off of school, and then I ended up going to Queens College, located in New York City, and did my MFA there in playwriting. And then after I graduated, I was kind of like, what am I going to do? Because I had a play done on 42nd Street at the Manhattan Repertory Theater, and I'd had some readings done in the city and all that. And I was like, I kind of saw the writing on the wall. Like, there is no money at all in playwriting. And I mean, obviously I'm not writing for money. If I wanted money, I could be much other things to do than that. You're pretty much signing up for almost guaranteed poverty. I mean, unless you're lucky, and very, very talented. So I was like, I can't do this. I'm out. I'm leaving. And so I ended up moving to LA to try the TV and movie business, because with that, you can make a living. whether it's, writing on a TV show. I mean, it's still difficult and it's still incredibly competitive, and the odds are still against you, but at least there is a somewhat light at the end of the tunnel compared to playwriting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, playwriting, you pretty much have to have a second job or you have to teach it. And I never could get anybody to hire me as a teacher when I was in New York, and it was just brick wall after brick wall after brick wall until finally it's like, okay, I'm going to listen to the universe. I have a friend in LA who's been telling me that he really wants me to come out there and be his roommate. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just listened to the universe and did it. And I've been here for 7 years, and I just got a movie made. So I feel like I made the right decision.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is so awesome. And we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. But why don't you talk about some of the differences between playwriting and screenwriting?
Well, playwriting is definitely, it's going to sound kind of funny that I'm going to say it's more dialogue driven, because obviously screenwriting is you're writing lines. But the way one of my professors explained to me is when you look at a play on the page, it's going to be like maybe a line of stage directions, very brief, like Ted enters. It's just very straight to the point, and then you'll have like this big long thing of dialogue of like Ted going on and on and on. While as in a script for TV or film, it's going to be, the action is going to be more present, because it is about painting that scene, because you've got more to work with when you're obviously doing a film. And the dialogue is, they want it more succinct. I mean, unless of course you're writing someone who's a blabbermouth or something, but for the most part, they want it more succinct and straight to the point and compact. So that was one of the things, because when I first started getting into screenwriting, that was one of the habits I had to break, because I didn't really want to focus on what was going on visually, and I want everybody to just be talking. And I would get feedback like, oh my gosh, these people, something has to happen. They just can't just sit here and talk. And I was like, yeah, and they're like, were you trained as a playwright? And I'm like, yes. And they go, stop it, Even though a lot of studios will send some writers to take some playwriting courses to make them better at dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to find that happy medium.
Right.
And just be more engaged with the fact that, you are trying to set a tone, while as with a play, you kind of just, the dialogue kind of says it for you. I mean, unless you're really dealing with a really expensive theater, you're probably not going to have a lot of, you're going to have a low budget when it comes to building your set and stuff, usually when you're dealing with theater, unless, you've looked up and you've got a really well-to-do theater.
Right. Yeah, I feel like with playwriting, you do have to be a little sparse, because what happens in terms of stage and costuming is up, like you said, it's dependent on the theater, what their budget is, and a lot of time you're dealing with either from like high school all the way to something that's produced on 42nd Street, and huge range of budget right there. And so it's like the important thing is the dialogue. Everything else is just kind of
It's like, if you can afford it, great. If not, it's theater, and you can do a suspension of disbelief. And you can't really do that in film, though. You will sometimes, like with the movie that I just finished, I had to really keep in mind the budget, because it was a low budget comparatively speaking to other films. And so sometimes you'll be in a situation where, for example, the main character, she runs a wedding planning shop. So they had to go location scouting in Oklahoma City. We've got to find, an office that could work as a wedding planner. But obviously they want it to be really cute and pretty, and, and they didn't, and for a good price. And finally, it came down to April. We've got this place that sells wedding dresses, and they're very affordable, and very excited to be a part of this project. But it sells wedding dresses as well as wedding planning. And so we ended up making her assistant be a wedding designer just to kind of make it work. So you do have to work with budget constraints, obviously, in film as well.
Right.
It's just, it's more of like a living, breathing thing where you just have to make changes and allowances for what locations you can find.
That's really cool. That's cool. So what other projects have you done? I mean, I don't. Hold on, hold on. Let me rephrase that. Uh, I did wanted to ask about what happens. Yeah, okay. Let's. I just said when you could tell us about other projects you've done in the past, but I want to ask more, a better question maybe, because you've talked about your movie. Um,
I just wrapped a
yeah.
short.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll just go with that. So all right. So besides this awesome film, actually, can you tell us a little bit more about this film first off? Like what more can you tell us about it?
Um, right now, I can say that it's been produced by Mar Vista.
Mhm.
It's being directed by Tom Shell and produced by Kelly Kay. And it's called Murder and Matrimony. You can find it on IMDb. And as far as when it's going to air, that is still up in the air because we're still doing editing and sound and all that stuff. So that's really
Okay.
all I can really say. Like,
Yeah.
don't know where it's going to air, don't know when it's going to air. I mean, the ultimate goal is to get it on Lifetime,
Okay.
but you have so many places now to get your stuff seen: Netflix, Amazon, Hulu. It just ePix. So you have options, but that's
Yeah.
kind of what we have in mind right now. Is the ultimate goal is to get it on Lifetime. That's the plan.
That's cool. That's cool. And then what about your other projects? What other projects can you tell us about?
Well, I wrote this. What was initially supposed to be just a short,
Hmm.
and it was supposed to be a friend of mine who lives in Indiana. He was wanting to do a few shorts, and so I wrote things for him as a favor. And then he ended up not doing it, and so then I had like some shorts on my hands. And when I say a short, like I mean like under 10 minutes. So like short. And my fiance Scott, he read them, and there was one in particular that really struck him, and he decided, like, why don't we make this like a web series? And so he's always wanted to direct. He's a talent manager for actors, and he's also produced a bunch of movies. And he decided that he would like to get his hands in directing, and what better way than to start with a short?
Hmm.
So he just did most of the shooting of it last month in April, and we are in the process of doing the whole editing thing, doing pickup shots, sound, etc. And that was really interesting to do because sister, Georgina.
Nice. That's awesome. That is awesome. I love it. I love it. All right, number 4. If you were to trade places with someone else for 1 month, living or dead, famous or not, fictional or real, whom would you like that person to be?
Oh. Oh, wow. Like, I'm thinking of all kinds of sadistic stuff, and I'm like, oh, no, let's keep it friendly.
Your brain goes in that direction.
Well, because I'm like, I would actually like to be, how you say her name? Ghislaine Maxwell.
Okay.
You know, Jeffrey Epstein's partner in crime.
Oh, yeah.
I would name names. I could be her for a month and be like, this person and this person and this person and this person, and here's all the documents, here's all the evidence, you know. I could,
before they kill you.
I know, I could do justice, and if I die, it's okay because it's her, and I'll just go back to being me, and it's like, job well done.
That's awesome. That is so good. This right there shows how much true crime you watch. That's awesome. Yes. Using your powers for good. I like it.
Exactly.
Okay, so for your last question, who would you rather fight? A horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
You know, my days of playing Dungeons and Dragons has taught me that fighting swarms is a real bitch unless you got fire.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to have fire, so I think I'm just going to take on the duck.
The horse-sized duck.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, your parents are in the horse business, so.
And they're tough. They hurt. Even if they were duck size, they would hurt.
Yeah. But I feel like you're used to already working with animals that size, so you kind of have a bit of an edge.
Yeah. I'll take the duck. I'll take the duck.
All right, take the duck. Okay. That's good. Good. I like it.
Of course, it'd be hard to escape a duck if you were losing, because it can swim, it can fly, and it can walk. I mean, there's really nowhere to go.
No.
I already said duck. We'll stick with duck.
That's so good. That's awesome. Anyway, thank you so much for coming and answering my weird ass questions. You're such a trooper. Especially with the horse-sized duck.
Like, well, this is how I'm gonna go.
At least it'll be written on your tombstone.
Yeah. Eat by a horse-sized duck.
Oh God. Anyway, if people wanted to find you, where are you? I guess so in terms of social media.
Well, I am on Instagram, and I think it's just plain old April Smallwood on Instagram.
Make sure I'll put it up for everybody to see.
Yeah, and then you can also find me on IMDb if you just type in April Smallwood.
I know somebody on IMDb.
I know. I gotta shoosh my IMDb up because I don't have anything really about me on there. It's just the projects I've been involved in.
Yeah.
And I really gotta look at some other people's profiles and be like, what did they say? April Smallwood was born and da 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 da. She is a Cancer, and I don't know.
When she says she's a Cancer, she means her zodiac sign, guys. Not that she's a.
Yeah, I don't have Cancer. At least I don't think so. Knock on wood.
Plague on humanity. You're not.
Yes. I am that too. Yes, I am actually that. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cancer on society.
Anyway, if you guys love having April here, please let me know because I'm having so much fun here. I'm sure April would not say no, at least in public, to coming back. Maybe I'm like, oh, bitch, get out of here.
In private, I'll say a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah. This is true. This is true. All right. Anyway, thanks again, April, and back to the studio.
And that's it. What do you guys think? Isn't she great? I love working with her, and I love, we're like, she's one of my besties frenzies. So if you would like to see more of her on this channel, please let me know, and I can easily organize something else. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up. It lets me and YouTube know that you like content like this and you want to see more. Please leave me a comment if you have any questions or there's a certain topic you'd like to see on this channel. If you want fun escapism, my space fantasy The God Queen is available in ebook, paperback, and hardback, and the sequel, The Last Imperator, is available for pre-sale. Don't forget to sign up for the TLI pre-sale giveaway. And if you sign up for my newsletter, you'll get the first 6 chapters of The God Queen, as well as the prequel short story, The Knight and the Goddess. So sign up! Also, if you have read any of my work or the work of your favorite author, please leave a review. That really helps us authors out, and it is free to do so. And don't forget to connect with either April or myself on social media, whether it is through Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. And that's it. Until next time, adi!